Hey everybody, this is Corey Richard, and I want to welcome you all to the webinar. Really excited to be here with all of you today. It looks like we've already got a bunch of you tuned in, so I'm super excited. Welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and dive in right now. So let's just go ahead and get started. In today's presentation, we're going to be talking about how to attract high-ticket customers every month using a top secret cold call technique and magic script while being 100% authentic and without using sleazy sales tactics. Plain and simple, I strive to help as many people as possible break free financially. We're all fighting the good fight. I mean, everybody on this webinar, I'm sure, is striving for a better life, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Whether it's for yourself, a loved one, your spouse, or your children, well, you're in the right place then. Because today, you'll discover a previously unknown sales framework that, if you follow it, will help you break free from this BS financial rat race and help you grow your income to the levels you dream about and begin to afford more of those comforts and luxuries of life you desire. My goal today is to cut through all of the BS that's inside your mind and give you alarming truths and actual skills that will save you time and set you free. By the end of this webinar, you'll wish you have come across this training earlier. I can guarantee that. As I'm sure you're aware, there's a huge problem that businesses are up against. Over 90% of businesses fail within the first 10 years, and 82% fail specifically because of cash flow problems. Not enough customers are buying. Type yes in the chat box if you feel like not enough customers are buying from you right now. Okay, I'm seeing yeses from Jason, Greg, Bill. Exactly. I know as well as anybody what it's like to be stressed out about money and keeping my business alive. I've been in the worst of financial situations, including having huge debt, and thankfully I've been able to pull myself out of there using simple strategies we're going to discuss today on this webinar, but I know exactly what it's like. It's no fun. So I want to let you know if you're in the right spot. This is how you know. If you're an entrepreneur or you're in your first sales job and are serious about generating the level of income you know you deserve, but you're lacking an effective sales process to get you over the hump, then this is for you. You procrastinate when it comes to making sales calls because you're afraid of rejection or that you're going to say the wrong thing. Then you're really going to love what you're going to hear on this presentation. Or you feel like there's an invisible ceiling on your income because you haven't yet seen the success you want to see yet. Then this is for you. I'm going to help you break through that ceiling today. Our promise to you, we'll show you exactly, step by step, how to attract high-ticket customers using a brand new 100% authentic and non-sleazy sales technique and magic script. We're going to be short. We're going to be to the point. We're going to have some fun here. I mean, it's going to be great, and it's purely educational. At the end, if you'd like some additional mentorship, we'll open up an opportunity for you. The mentorship is not for everybody. It's for rock stars only. So if you feel like you're a rock star, then you'll like the offer at the end. Also, you'll receive 2 free bonuses for sticking around until the end today. First, you'll receive our Magic Cold Call talk track. This is the magic script I formed over years and years of trial and error, the opening lines, how to qualify, and the most streamlined closing question technique you'll ever find. All my clients are using this talk track to book more meetings, close more customers, and really just make more money for them and their businesses. You'll also receive our objection handling toolkit, go-to responses for the most frequent objections you'll hear when calling on businesses who have never heard of you, and how to reverse engineer that situation so that we get the prospect chasing you. They want to talk to you, and they want to learn more about your products and services. How's that sound? We sell this usually for $297. However, it's yours today for free. How many of you are excited about that? How many of you like this idea of receiving these bonuses for free just for sticking around until the end of the webinar? Awesome. I'm excited to give it to you. You're going to love them. Before getting started, I do need your attention real quick. We're taking this webinar down soon after you watch it because we really want to keep this information exclusive. So please turn off your cell phones. Please turn off Facebook and close out of all your social media. If you're serious about attracting premier customers and taking your income to new levels, the next 30 to 45 minutes will change your life. It's a heavy promise, but I'll prove it. So who am I? My name is Corey Richard. I've been testing and finding new unique ways to sell over the phone for the last 4 years. I originally got my start as the first employee at a small startup in Boston, and I sold $1 million worth of business to large companies like Staples, GoDaddy, Square, and Google. You've probably heard of them. I later joined a high-tech marketing firm and sold a complex marketing software to startups around the country. I've had the unique opportunity to work at a startup and sell to enterprise companies, as well as work at an enterprise company and sell to startups. I'm grateful for the experience. And then it happened. A year ago, one of my teammates, Jeff, who was struggling big time on the sales floor, he just couldn't land a meeting for the life of him. It was his first sales job. He was 3 months in and feeling lost. He had no idea what he was doing. Jeff took initiative, though. He came over to my desk and he asked me for help. I was leading the team in meetings booked and total sales at the time and was happy to help him out. Teaching, training, and coaching others to be the best they're capable of being is my passion and my purpose in life. We all get the same information, Jeff said with unease. It seems like everyone's doing the same thing. What are you doing differently that seems to be working so well, he asked me. Jeff's palms began to sweat. I could tell he was uncomfortable from all the constant rejection he had been receiving over the phone and his lack of a plan. The look of concern on his face was palpable. His mind was screaming, if I don't figure this out fast, I'll be out of a job. I looked at him with a confident, warm smile. I have a process, I said. Here, let me show you. I showed Jeff everything. What I said to open a cold call, the emails I sent, the questions I asked, when and how often I follow up, voicemails I leave that guarantee a call back. Essentially, what's become my prospecting formula. This is brilliant, Jeff said, as he burst out a large smile, one so big that it reminded me of a kid on Christmas Eve, so excited for the next day and opening presents that you can't sleep the night before. You just want to open presents now. I could see that level of excitement in Jeff, a confidence that had been trapped inside, just waiting to get out. He wanted to hit the phones and test it. As he walked back to his desk carrying a large grin from ear to ear, I knew Jeff's life and his income were about to change. Armed with this new, proven knowledge I'm about to teach you, Jeff's fear washed away like an ocean wave. He confidently locked down appointments with 2 different business owners over the phone that day and 4 the next day. Guy was all smiles. He closed 4 times more business than his previous 2 months combined. Quality meetings make all the difference, and you'll soon find out why and how to do that. Without realizing it, I put together a powerful, universal, and repeatable formula that anyone can follow to book quality meetings with decision makers over the phone. I decided to share my techniques with friends who were running their own small businesses and needed help selling their services. Software companies, IT, consulting, marketing agencies, and others. It worked for them too, regardless of the industry. So I decided to take a risk, to walk away from my comfortable corporate job and start teaching business owners, startup founders, business development reps, and account executives like you how to book sales meetings fast in half the time and start moving faster toward your dreams that come with acquiring more customers and earning more money. Let me ask you to imagine something real quick. Imagine your calendar is overloaded with quality sales meetings, more than you could ever want. Imagine you never have to worry about where new business is coming from ever again, because you have the right system in place. Imagine what your life will be like when you know how to attract more high-ticket customers fast without using sleazy sales tactics. How about when you really know how to create a deep, lasting connection in the first 2 minutes of every call so that potential customers and clients will like you, trust you, and tell you the truth? What will that do for you? Will this make a difference for you and your family? We're going to get into the nuts and bolts here in just a second, the actual skills you'll need to get there and actually make that a reality. But let me ask you another question. What would closing 1 additional large deal this month mean to you and your business? What about 3? 5? Would you be able to take some time off and relax? What about traveling with family and friends? If you're working a full-time job in addition to your small business, would you quit? Would you upgrade your lifestyle? New house? New car? What about that seed funding round? Series A? How would closing more business impact your life? I want to show you that this actually works. I'm not just one of those gurus who sings his own praise. These are some of our students who previously had little to no sales experience and learned how to apply this exact information. Yes, they've worked very, very hard, but they've also gotten some phenomenal results very quickly from it. You can be a complete newbie, have no idea how to sell. This strategy that I'm about to share with you is the first step to growing your book of business. Quick disclaimer though, these results are not typical. Please understand, the average person who attends any training gets 0 results. We're going to walk you through the exact method, the exact skills that I've used for years and my students are using to get great results, but I need to include this disclaimer. These results are from students who have done very, very well. They followed our model. If you just take away this information and you don't apply it, you're not going to go anywhere, right? This will not work for people who do not want to do the work to make yourself better. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get into the fun stuff. We're going to uncover 3 secrets today. I'm going to teach you 3 new skills that you can start using immediately to increase your close rate on cold calls and book 3 times more appointments with qualified buyers within the next week. Are you ready? Okay. First, how to open and run the perfect cold call. You're going to learn how to effectively open the conversation no matter what services you're selling or who you're selling to. Next, how to cut your sales cycle in half using 6 simple steps. You'll learn how to ask the right series of questions to determine who is a buyer in heat. And lastly, how to overcome the most frequent objections without being too pushy or using outdated, sleazy tactics. You'll learn how to brush off these objections and get your prospects' undivided attention. Haha, can't wait. Let's get to it. Secret number 1, how to open and run the perfect cold call. I like to call this the secret cold call opener. As I just mentioned, the purpose here is to know how to effectively open the conversation no matter what services you're selling or who you're selling to. Most business owners who lack sales experience believe that you should tell the prospect about your company and what you do as soon as possible, as soon as the person picks up the phone, and just see if they're interested. And if they're not, get rid of them. Wrong. If you're doing this, listen up. What you want to do is find pain as soon as possible. It doesn't matter what you're selling. What matters is, does this prospect have pain for what I'm selling? Okay, so how do we do that correctly? First, we want to open and take control of the conversation. Next, we want to bucket to find pain. Let's do a short role play so you truly understand what this means and what I'm talking about here. Let's say we're calling the business owner of a software company. Our company sells marketing consulting services. Ring, ring. Hi, is Mr. or Mrs. Prospect there? Saying in a friendly tone of voice. I and all my students, we open a cold call the same way every time. The reason we open this way, even if we know our contact will be the person picking up the phone, is we want to start stacking our yeses. You've most likely heard this before. This isn't anything new. The more yeses we get on a sales call, the higher chance of landing a deal. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect. This is Corey Richard calling from XYZ Marketing Company in Boston, Massachusetts. How's the day treating you? We say this with confidence. We say this in a friendly tone of voice again. And we mix up the question at the end very subtly to throw them off. Instead of saying, how are you today? Which they and you have heard literally 1,000,000 times probably by this point. Instead, we say, how is the day treating you? Very subtle distinction, but effective. Did I catch you in okay time? I know I'm catching you completely out of the blue right now. Being polite is an underutilized skill in sales. You don't need to be a pushover, that's not what I'm suggesting here. But being polite gains you more points than you think. If they previously said that they're busy, that they can't talk now, etc., we can skip line number 3 and move immediately into bucketing to find pain. How do we do that? Let's say we move through lines 1 through 3 smoothly. Regardless of the prospect's answer to line number 3 in this case, we respond with, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, I'm sure you're super busy, and I definitely want to be respectful of your time, so I'll be brief. The reason for my call today is we're reaching out to a select group of software companies or whatever industry they're in. And typically, when I speak with business owners like yourself, there are three main areas that they're concerned about. Then list out the three biggest pain points that your clients or customers typically have. Write that down right now. Take a pen and a piece of paper, write that down. Seriously, take a time out and write down the top three biggest pain points your customers have. At least make a note to do this and write out what you believe to be the top three biggest pain points. This is the key to landing high ticket customers and landing high value deals, because you're speaking your prospects' language and you're talking about something they care about, aka you come off as an expert, a credible expert, and you differentiate yourself from 95% of salespeople calling this prospect and everybody else. So for instance, if I'm selling online marketing services, my three pain points would be: 1, increase in the number of qualified leads for your clients; 2, automating more of your team's marketing efforts; and 3, being able to better track and improve the ROI of your efforts. Immediately follow up with, is that accurate for you? It's almost like we're playing dumb, right? Where we want to figure out, do any of these pain points resonate with our clients? Stacking the yeses because we've done our research, we've written down our three pain points, and know who our target customer is. There's a high probability that one of your pain points is going to resonate with the prospect when you take those steps. Your follow-up question after this will be, of those three, which would you say is most important to you right now? It's crucial that we stay on the right path on a cold call, and really any sales call in general. One misstep and the opportunity's gone. We're on the phone with our target customer right now, so let's capitalize. We want to find out an important pain point that the prospect cares about and latch on to it. And then we want to drill into that pain as much as possible, which I'll show you how to do properly next. To recap, we open confidently and we take control of the conversation by explaining who we are and why we're calling. And number 2, we bucket the prospect using the most important pain points that our product or service solves for, so that we're talking about a problem the prospect actually cares about without telling them what we do. If you stick around till the end of this webinar here today, the Magic Cold Call talk track that I'll provide you has all this information and everything else we're going to talk about today all laid out for you, ready to go. Secret number 2. Oof, we're just moving through fast here. The 6 steps that will cut your sales cycle in half. Most business owners who lack sales experience are afraid to ask questions on initial cold call. They get their first yes, and they go for the meeting without asking any qualification questions. Actually, qualification questions, it's the most important and most vital thing that you can do here. You don't want to waste your time chasing someone who will put on a good show but will never actually buy your product or service because they don't have enough pain. Stop wasting your time. Your time is everything. So what do? We want to dig into that pain that we just found and discover urgency. How do we do that? You follow the pickle, of course. It stands for a series of steps, the most impactful questions you must ask your prospect during a cold call to determine if they are truly worth your time, okay? We found the problem in the last section by bucketing into pain. Now we take that pain and we put it into a vice grip to figure out if we have a prospect in heat, aka how badly do they need your product or services. Why is that area most important? Remember, we just bucketed into a pain point in the last section when we found the problem. So if we go back to the marketing services example that we just used, if we found that generating enough leads for your clients is the most pressing problem to the prospect, next we find out, well, why is that? We have to dig deeper. We have to understand this prospect's specific situation and understand the emotional reasons behind why a fix is necessary. More on this in a minute. How important is that to solve? You could also ask this in the form of, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is that to solve? If the prospect is vague with their answer here. We want to be able to at least put a hard number on how much of a pain point this truly is for this prospect. Again, all goes back to not wasting your time. All right, Mr. Pickle, thanks for your help. We appreciate it. I don't know how many Rick and Morty fans we have on here, but Pickle Rick is one of my favorite characters ever. But anyways, next, we want to figure out the prospect's current situation or their current state. How are you doing it now? What tools are you using? Understanding what they're doing today allows us to speak their language again and unearth any competitors you're familiar with, or more importantly, ones that you're unfamiliar with, to help with your process. Consequences. What happens if you can't solve it over the next 6 to 12 months? Does that matter? What's the master key to success in sales, you say? Find out the emotional reasons behind why your prospect will buy or not buy. That's it. Experts say that 90% of all purchase decisions are made subconsciously off our emotional state. Figuring out the consequences of not making a move and fixing their problem will provide you with ammo that you can use down the line to close the deal. Oh, but you said previously that if you don't do this, then insert bad thing will happen here. See what I mean? Can you quantify what that means? This is where the bad thing comes into play. Reduced budget. Is your team going to shrink? You'll miss your quarterly earnings. Will you have to shut down the business? Again, why do they care about fixing this pain? We have limited time on this call. Maybe even just maybe even under a minute in most cases. We have to find the gold nugget here, or we risk the sale dragging on, or in most cases, for most people, never actually happening. We've all experienced it. And lastly, are you willing to listen to some new ideas on how to solve this problem? Lock them down for a meeting, baby. By this point, we have found pain and determined if this is a buyer in heat. Again, aka, do they need our product or service now? Next, you go for the close. And the magic cold call script bonus that you'll get at the end of this webinar includes 5 additional closing questions you need to ask to ensure your prospect will show up to your sales meeting. So, to recap, follow the pickle in order to properly qualify your prospects. Ensure you're only spending your time with high quality buyers. Whew! I gotta take a drink of water here. Okay. It'd be great to run through the open, bucket into pain, and qualify for urgency using the pickle method, but 85% of the time it doesn't go that smoothly. We need ready to use and proven responses that work. Whenever we hear one of those pesky objections that tend to pop up during most initial sales calls, most non-salespeople are afraid of objections. They freeze up, get scared, all because they aren't sure how to handle them. We're fixing that right now. And actually, there are no new objections. The same ones are used over and over and over again if you really think about it, and we're going to get into that in a moment, which ones are used most frequently. And the first one you hear is most often not the real truth of the situation. Think about it. How do you feel when you pick up a cold call from someone you've never heard of, and they start talking to you about selling you this new, amazing, once-in-a-lifetime product or service because of XYZ reasons? Given the quality of most cold calls, what's your typical reaction when picking up these calls from these jokers? If you're like most people, you just want to get off the phone as fast as possible, right? So we throw out these smoke screens, if you will, because most of us, we just want to be nice. So we'll say, oh, I'm not interested, or just send me information, or I'm all set, or I'm too busy, I can't talk right now. Also that we just get off the phone and get away from that uncomfortable situation. However, if we are talking to a professional and they know how to handle these common objections and respond the right way, because he or she gets them all the time and gets all the same objections every day, we may be more apt to continue the conversation and buy into what they're selling. Let me prove this to you. Not interested. The most common objection we tend to hear. What's the way I and all my students handle this sucker after running into this objection literally thousands of times? I understand that. I don't blame you, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect. You've never heard of me. You don't know what my company does or how I could help you. I'm sure you get sales calls all the time, but I'm also sure that sometimes a call turns out to be truly worthwhile. This happens to be one of those calls. Then you continue asking your pickle qualification questions, problem, importance, current state, etc. What are we doing here? We're empathizing with the prospect. I'm sure you get sales calls all the time. We're turning ourselves into a human being who is different from 95% of salespeople. We gain more credibility and trust from the prospect and earn more of their willingness to open up and tell us the truth. We're all taking control of the conversation in this situation when we use a response like this. We're telling the prospect to listen to you by saying, this happens to be one of those calls. We're taking solid control and putting ourselves in charge while being nice about it. Prospects aren't used to this type of control. Most prospects I've found, they appreciate people who are direct, but also people that are polite and empathetic. Just send info. The response here is a bit shorter and to the point. No problem. I'm happy to do that for you. I want to make sure I'm sending you the right stuff. And then qualify again using your pickle questions. We're agreeing with the prospect here, and we're reframing the statement so that in order to send them information that will be valuable to them, we have to first ask them a couple of questions. Again, putting yourself back into control. I love getting this objection. It's super easy to start implementing into your process, and that's why I had to share it with you today. We're all set. I hear that, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, but isn't it true that if you get the same or even better results than you're spending right now, it'd be silly not to at least listen to how that might happen? Then let's take a couple minutes right now. Let me ask you, qualify. You're making the prospect feel dumb in this scenario for not knowing what else is out there. A deal that's cheaper and better than what I currently have? Of course I want to see that. This is a secret trick, and it has to be delivered in the right tonality and pacing to be truly effective. But let's say we just used the last statement, it didn't resonate, and they say again that they're all set. Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, why'd you choose your current supplier? And now that you've worked with them for a while, what's on your wish list? In other words, if you could make them the perfect solution, what would you change about them? This strategy is called fix and demonstrate. We ask indirectly what a competitor is not doing for the prospect that they want done, and then if your company can provide them with what they want, you can quickly demonstrate this to the prospect by explaining how you do it in a brief elevator pitch. I'm talking like 10 to 15 seconds max. Because remember, the purpose of the cold call is to book a meeting. It's not to tell your prospect everything about what you do, as we've discussed. We want to create intrigue and have them saying to themselves, how do you do that? I'm too busy. I know that feeling. My calendar's jammed, and my desk is chock full of things I need to do too. I'd be happy to pencil in a time on the calendar to call you back, but I don't want to bother you if you're really not interested. Let me ask you a quick question and be honest with me. If I could show you a way to reduce your cost or any other pain point they have, would it be worth it for you and I to talk for 5 minutes to see how I can help you? Agree, empathize, offer value, and be real. Come off as a real human being, and they will trust you. You're leveling with them here. Asking them to be honest with you. I mean, who does that? Real salespeople do. It's weird. I mean, just by even mentioning the word honest, honesty, or be honest with me during an initial sales call or at any point during the sales process on a call, it can absolutely flip the script of the situation and turn the situation into a real conversation where both of you are just sharing the truth because you're almost becoming friends that have respect for each other. Don't be like all other cold calling amateurs that just frustrate your prospects. Be authentic, not sleazy, and be different. This is a way to do it. Lastly, I like to call this one the ultimate follow-up rebuttal. Let's say we've used one or two of these previous objection handling statements and they just aren't working. Say this: Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, obviously it seems like you're satisfied right now, and I'm assuming there wouldn't be a good fit. Out of curiosity though, what would it take for you personally to be more than satisfied right now? Ooh, fire. Again, like we saw before, we're asking the prospect directly what is going to get them to buy. Our prospects have all the answers to what we want to know, and it's our job to get it out of them in a real, genuine, authentic way. This is how we speed up the sales process. This is how we land more high-ticket customers. And this is how we make more money. If we can provide the value they seek, they will be more likely to want to talk to us. End of story. Let's recap what we've covered. First, how to open and run the perfect cold call. We learned how to effectively open the conversation, no matter what services you're selling or who you're selling to. We do that by opening with confidence, taking control of the conversation, and bucketing defined pain. Next, how to cut your sales cycle in half using 6 simple steps. We learned how to ask the right series of questions to determine urgency and who is a buyer in heat. We do that using the pickle method: problem, importance, current state, consequence, quantify, and listen. And lastly, how to overcome the most frequent objections without being too pushy or using outdated, sleazy tactics. We learned how to brush off these objections and get your prospects' undivided attention. We do that by understanding there are no new objections and having responses ready to go at a moment's notice. Whew! So let me ask you a question. Are you enjoying the webinar so far? Are you getting value from this? Are you starting to feel more confident by knowing this strategy that you can add into your sales process right now to start seeing immediate ROI in your investment here today? Let me also ask you, did I keep my promise? Did I show you how to attract more high-ticket customers using new cold call techniques and a magic script? I'm clearly not drinking enough water here as I'm talking to you. This stuff is so valuable. And I'm going to give you all the templates we just covered at the end of the webinar and include some bonus material in there also that we didn't touch on that you're also going to love. So who wants to take things to the next level? Put in the QA box, I'm ready. Okay. Seeing responses from Jack, Mark, Bill, Carl, Tom with a I'm ready. Excellent. I promised at the beginning that I would tell you about an opportunity to get additional help and mentorship. What if you were handed a proven sales formula that's guaranteed to grow your book of business and set the right foundation for your short and long-term sales success? And I mean everything. Emails, voicemails, every objection handling rebuttal known to man that you'll run into in the sales process, and received tailored coaching from an expert that has sold $1 million worth of business to companies like Staples, GoDaddy, Square, and to hundreds of small businesses. That'd be pretty amazing, right? Well, this offer's only for people that would like to speed up their results, and this is only for rock stars that we're going to invite into our little inner circle, okay? And just a heads up, enrollment in our program is very limited. This isn't like other programs. I'm not taking people into our program and just give you a bunch of content and say, here you go, figure it out, like a lot of other companies and programs out there. This is one-on-one instruction, guidance, coaching, and training. Our time is limited, and we can't help everybody. I want to, we want to, but we can't. I mean, our goal is to turn you and every student we have into a success story, and we're very picky with whom we choose to work with. That's because we spend a lot of our own time refining your sales process, really digging into the weeds and getting in there and finding out the most efficient and effective ways to deliver your message and acquire new customers in the fastest ways possible. That being said, only 5 students are accepted to the program at one time. We have 4 currently enrolled. We're offering this mentorship opportunity to you today because we have one opening in our program. We're expecting it to fill up very soon because it's on a first come, first served basis. The first person to get it is going to get it. Now here's the risk that you run. Sure, you could take the information that we talked about in this guide. You can go out there and try and do it for yourself. You can use this stuff right away. I mean, that's why we created this webinar. But you risk a lot. What if you aren't asking the right questions once your prospect gets to the sales meeting? The right ones that will close the deal fast. What if you don't know what to write up in an email to guarantee a response back? How often would you reach out to a prospect if you knew the exact formula and cadence that you should be reaching out to a prospect with? What about your sales process needs to change, and how would you change it so you can land the deal? You don't know how to do some of this stuff, and that's okay. What you risk is using a lot of your own precious, limited time and money trying to figure this out for yourself. How much is your time and money worth to you? If you value your time and money and believe in investing in a shorter path to success, then really for us to decide if you're a good fit, we need to understand you have what it takes. What does that mean exactly? We're looking for highly ambitious, coachable, willing to do whatever it takes people. If you've chosen to stay on this webinar, that tells me that you're most likely ambitious and coachable. But are you really willing to do whatever it takes? I mean, I've had students who told me that they did, but they gave up. Right when they were about to make changes necessary to improve their financial situation, they gave up. I learned my lesson, and that's why I have to mention this. That's why I'm speaking at length here. How badly does your business need new customers? For those business owners out there, I'm sure you can agree with me when I say for your company to survive, you must be willing to invest in yourself and your business. As we mentioned before, we're looking for rock stars. We only work with people who truly want this. Winners. If you're not willing to do the work, this opportunity isn't for you. Honestly, I mean, don't even apply unless you're a future superstar and can prove it. As I've said, our goal is to create a success story out of you and every single student we work with, and we'll do whatever it takes to help you make that happen. Here's the deal. If you're willing to do whatever it takes, apply for a free breakthrough strategy session by clicking the link below. The last student slot in our inner circle is on a first come, first served basis, and we do not plan on having another opening for the next 6 months. We invest a lot of our own time and attention into our student success, and that's why we can only work with 5 at a time, as I've mentioned. Apply for a free breakthrough strategy session, and we'll map out the exact sales strategy for you and your team to follow. If we decide that it's a good fit and that it would work for you and it would work for us, then we'll invite you into our inner circle and become a part of the mentorship program. When you click the link below, you're going to see a page that looks something like this. You'll need to select your time and click next. If there are spots available, then great, go ahead, snatch it up, schedule your time, click next. Then you'll put in your name, email, phone number, and click done. Then you'll be directed to a page that has application instructions. Fill this out as honestly as possible. We want to make sure that you're going to really be able to bring something to the table, that you're a rock star, as I've said. We're looking to create more success stories and find people we can vibe with. So fill out this application to the best of your ability. If you don't fill it out, you won't be called. That's that. When you schedule your call, you'll be talking directly with me. That way you can learn a little bit more about the program, see if it's a good fit for you, and see if we can help you get to your goals much faster. And that's the idea of mentorship. It's to get there faster. You can look at somebody's results who has already done it and just take the similar actions. You'll get there quicker. Are you a rock star? If you're serious and willing to do the work, click the Apply Now button below. And if there's still spots available, go ahead, schedule a call. Fill out your application, and I look forward to talking to you and seeing you on our inner circle. If you're on the fence, I want to ask you a question. So you've probably been on these kinds of webinars in the past, right? You get excited, you get fired up, and then what happens the next day? Probably nothing for most of you. And it's sad because I just showed you guys the exact system I've used for years and the one my clients are using to book more sales meetings and increase your conversion rate on every sales call. You're going to go back tomorrow and not do anything. The reason why is because of old habits. They're hard to break. You're going to go back to your office the next day and you're in the exact same habits. The only way you're going to be successful is if we figure out a way to break that habit right now. The way you're going to break that habit is by investing your time in a free breakthrough strategy session. Now I can come in and I can help you and give you all the tools you need to break that habit so that you can become successful. If you don't do that, you're going to slide back to your old exact habits, and where are you going to be? Right where you are now. Everything we did for the last 40 minutes here will be completely useless because you just go back to your old habits. So the only way to break that is to invest your time in a learning opportunity just like you have today that can change your life, like it already has for several others. Now you have the tools to break that habit and be able to take your life to the next level. If you're still thinking about it and you're not sure, look, this is the way it is. People in life, they can have one of two things, right? They can either have money or they can have excuses. That's it. And so right now you've got two options. Option one is you can sign up and now you can learn how to make more money. So money will never be an issue. And you can provide your family with all the needs and comforts of life that they deserve. Maybe it's buying your dream home, giving your children the best education possible. Or maybe it's just having more freedom to spend time doing the things you want to do with the people you love. Or option number two, you can come up with some excuse why you couldn't do it this time, why you don't have enough time. Whatever your excuse is today, that's completely fine. But the reality is, you can't have both. You can have money or excuses. You've got to decide right now which one you want. I don't know about you, but I'd rather have money. And I know that money comes through useful, valuable service to others. And so that's why you need to sign up for a free breakthrough strategy session. Either way, we'll help you get there. For the last 42 minutes, we've shared a ton of information with you. But as you know, information alone isn't going to save you. What you need is a mentor. Someone that understands the path and will show you the way to sales success. Because that's what's going to help you get there and get to the next level with your business sales efforts. Now, for those of you stuck around, I'll tell you how to receive the 2 gifts I promised you at the beginning of the webinar. To get your 2 free gifts, the Magic Cold Call Talk Track and the Objection Handling Toolkit, go to this link to claim your free gifts. bit.ly/free sales gifts. I can't wait for you to get these and start using them. You're going to love them. It's going to save you a ton of time, and I'm so excited to be able to give this to you today and for you to receive this absolutely free. And remember, schedule a free breakthrough strategy session. What's the worst that could happen? Spots are filling up fast. Our program's only open to just 1 student on a first come, first served basis. Probably won't last long. In signing off, I really do hope you enjoyed your free training today, and I wish you all the prosperity and success that you do truly deserve in the new year. Bye for now.